Residents drifted back from shelters and faraway havens Tuesday to see Hurricane Irma's scattershot destruction. Flooded streets remained, and the count of damaged and totaled homes ticked upward even as some curfews were lifted, flights resumed, and amusement park rides again twirled. "Everything's gone," said Jen Gilrath, a 33-year-old bartender whose Jacksonville home filled with knee-high floodwaters. As crews labored to repair the lone highway connecting the Keys, residents of some of the islands closest to Florida's mainland were allowed to return and get their first look at the devastation 2 days after Irma roared in with 130 mph, 209 km/h, winds. Federal Emergency Management Agency Administrator Brock Long said preliminary estimates suggested that 25% of the homes in the Keys were destroyed and 65% sustained major damage. "Basically, every house in the Keys was impacted," he said. The number of deaths blamed on Irma in Florida climbed to 12, in addition to 4 in South Carolina and 2 in Georgia. At least 37 people were killed in the Caribbean. "We've got a lot of work to do, but everybody's going to come together," Florida Governor Rick Scott said. "We're going to get this state rebuilt." Glimpses of Irma's economic toll were emerging, with Florida saying 31 state agencies had already amassed nearly $250 million in preparation and recovery expenses. In the meantime, officials warily eyed storm damage to its citrus crops, an issue Senators Bill Nelson and Marco Rubio plan to address at a joint news conference Wednesday morning with growers. The number of people without electricity in the steamy late summer heat dropped to 9.5 million, just under half of Florida's population. Utility officials warned it could take 10 days or more for power to be fully restored. About 110,000 people remained in shelters across the state. At the front of the line after a more than 2-hour wait, Phil Churchirillo, 57, said days without electricity and other basics were beginning to wear on people. "At first it's like, we're safe, thank God. Now they're testy," he said. "The order of the day is to keep people calm." Search and rescue teams made their way into the more distant reaches of the Keys, and an aircraft carrier was positioned off Key West to help. Officials said it was not known how many people ignored evacuation orders and stayed behind in the Keys. Crews also worked to repair 2 washed-out, 300-foot, 90-meter, sections of US 1, the highway that runs through the Keys, and check the safety of the 42 bridges linking the islands. Debris was scattered everywhere, including refrigerators, washers and dryers, a 25-foot, 8-meter, fishing boat and a jacuzzi. Homes were torn open to give a glimpse of their contents, including a bedroom with a small Christmas tree decorated with starfish. One man and his family came to check on a weekend home and found it destroyed. The sight was too much to bear. The man told his family to get back in the car, and they drove off toward Miami. The Lower Keys, including the chain's most distant and most populous island, Key West, with 27,000 people, were still off-limits, with a roadblock in place where the highway was washed out. Although the Keys are studded with mansions and beachfront resorts, about 13% of the people live in poverty and could face big obstacles as the cleanup begins. "They're shoving people back to a place with no resources," he said by telephone. "It's just going to get crazy pretty quick."